Hey, Colin Hiles here, aka the Mindset Guy, with today's training video, which is video number 4 in this happiness series, which I've called Expectation Uncoupling, which I know is an unusual title, but I want to talk about expectations. Now, where does this fit in the model that I'm building here? Well, we started off looking at on video number 1, where are we going on this scale? We're moving up, we're moving down from happiness to unhappiness. Then we looked no matter where we are here, we have a choice, and fundamentally we can choose 1 or 2 pathways to happiness, and within each of these pathways there are many other pathways. So there's the external pathway where we use the external world, and that's what I talked about in last video, which is finding, following and living your smile. And in this video I want to talk about the internal path to happiness. This is more the direct route. This is the indirect route. This is more the direct route. So, how do we get that harmony and contentment that we're all seeking? And how do we get it on purpose rather than bump into it every now and again? And this is where expectations come in, and the importance of understanding the role expectations play in our lives, because these expectations we are living out of all of the time, and we're bumping into all of the time. Now, let me give you a simple analogy to kick this off. I want you to imagine that we're sat beside a swimming pool, beautiful swimming pool, and we're talking, and I just dip my hand into the water and I pull it up, and so my hand's got a little bit of water in there, and I use this analogy with you. I want you to imagine that hand filled with water is happiness. It's always there, it never goes away, as long as we keep the hand open. But the moment that we close the hand and we squeeze all of the water out of the gaps, meaning we squeeze all of the happiness out of the moment. And as soon as we become too demanding or too controlling, or we have expectations that are just unable to be met, we squeeze the happiness out of the moment. So keep that in mind as we move into a model, and let me explain the model. The model I've put up here. So we have actual experience, reality, all right? So moment to moment we're dealing with what reality brings us. And then we've got 0 expectations of what will happen, and we've got high expectations of what will happen. And depending on what life brings us, we either can feel happy or we can feel disappointed. Now let me put some of the emotions in here. So down here would be happy, joyful, grateful. Up here would be, for instance, frustration, disappointment, irritation, and anger. All right. Now how do we experience those? Well, if I just use one example on this model so you can see how this works. Let's say that you travel to work and you travel by car. And normally it takes you 30 minutes to get to work. And one morning, for whatever reason, the lights are all green, there doesn't appear to be that much traffic, you sail to work and you get there within 20 minutes. Well, how are you going to be feeling? You're going to be feeling good, right? Why? Well, because the actual experience was better than what you thought it would be, so you're going to experience good. Now, what if one morning you jump in the car and you're just a couple of miles and you get stuck in a traffic jam and it's not moving, it's gridlocked, it's not going anywhere, and you get to work and you're a half hour late, meaning it's taken you an hour to get to work? Well, you're probably going to be angry and irritated and frustrated. Why? Well, because it hasn't met your expectation. It's this one. It's below where your expectation was, the actual experience. So the first one was above your expectation, the second one was below your expectation. So we have expectations on ourselves, we have expectations on people, we have expectations on the world in general. When those expectations are met, we're happy. When they're not met, we're unhappy. But who sets up the expectations? Exactly, we do. It's the things that we've set up in the first place, and often we haven't explored whether those expectations are serving us or not. So I've put up this little equation up here. Happiness equals reality minus expectations. Because the more expectations we have, the more rigid those expectations are, then the less we're going to experience happiness, joyful and grateful. The less. And the less expectations that we have, then we're going to experience more of frustration, irritation, and unhappiness, so to speak, right? We're going to experience more of that. So we need to understand and really need to explore expectations, the expectations we have now. I just want to say this, that I'm not saying that we've got to lower our expectations as such. You know, it's important still to have goals. It's important still to have aspirations. And you know, I talk a lot about this and I'm an advocate of it. But you can find individuals who set a goal to find the love of their life, to get into a relationship, and then because they're too controlling, too commanding, and they've got unrealistic expectations that the person can't meet, they squeeze all the happiness and love out of the relationship. Or you can find an individual that sets a goal to become financially independent and wealthy and end up being miserable. So it's, you know, setting the goal is one thing, and I absolutely strongly recommend that, but we also need to look at what are our expectations in the moment, on the journey towards what it is that we want to achieve. So let me give you some examples. If you look around at who are the happiest individuals on the planet, typically, right, children. And I often ask audiences, who's the happiest out of children or adults? Audience always says children straight away. I mean, it's just a no-brainer, right? So why is it that they're so happy? Well, one of the reasons is that they're so happy and that they have this kind of carefree attitude and they're really adaptable to the situations is because they have few expectations. They're closer to the zero, right? And so as a result of that, then as they're going through and experiencing things, they don't have that many expectations on people. It doesn't matter whether you're black, white, red, poor, smelly, right? They're highly accepting of people. I mean, how many times do you hear children moan about the weather or complain about the weather? Right? Try never, okay? They don't moan about the weather, right? The weather is the weather, and they'll find a way to have fun if it's raining or if it's snowing or if it's cloudy or if it's sunny. It doesn't matter, okay? It doesn't matter. Why? Because they don't have that many expectations. Now, as we get older, we start to set up certain expectations on how things should be. We have this picture in our mind of how I should be, he should be, she should be, it should be, they should be. And of course, if they meet the should be, that word is a key word, should, by the way, then we're going to be happy. If they don't meet it, then we're going to be disappointed. And all disappointment is an expectation not met. Anytime you're disappointed with something, it's an expectation not met. And because children don't have that many expectations, they don't get disappointed. They don't get frustrated. They don't get angry as much as adults. So as a result, their hand metaphorically is open most of the time. They're not squeezing happiness out of the moment. Now, if I give you, some examples of this end of the spectrum. So I fly a lot, okay? I do a lot of flying. Now, if you're going to fly a lot, what can you expect to happen at some point? Plane delays? Absolutely. Plane cancelled? Absolutely. Luggage lost? Absolutely. Sat next to somebody who, for instance, doesn't stop talking and all you want is a bit of peace and quiet? Absolutely, right? And then the list goes on and on and on and on and on, okay? It's a huge list. Now, would you say it's unrealistic of me to always have a flight on time every time? You go, yeah, you're ridiculous, Colin. Yet, how many people have that expectation when they travel? And when a plane is delayed, lose it, get angry, get frustrated, get irritated, right? Now, experience these. Lots, I know, because I fly a lot. And I've had just about every experience you can have on a plane, including an engine blowing up, when we're up in the air. So every experience I've experienced on a plane. And you see all these different reactions going on. Why all the different reactions? Why not the same reaction? Because everyone's got different expectations, right? Happiness, reality, minus expectations. More expectations, then more unhappy. Less expectations, less unhappy. I was speaking recently to a mum. And 6 months ago, she gave birth to a baby, and she was feeling like a failure, and she was feeling really disappointed. And so I was seeking to work with her and find out what was going on. So she had this picture of how the birth was going to be. It was going to be a beautiful, natural birth. Everything was going to go fine. And what actually happened was the complete opposite. So she had an emergency C-section. She was rushed in as a result of that. It was a very traumatic birth. She took a while to heal and get back. She had trouble breastfeeding. That didn't go according to plan as expected. And she had really high blood pressure. So she had an expectation of how it was going to be. Reality dealt her something else, and as a result, she was feeling disappointed and she was feeling like a failure. Now, can you see that's the expectations that she had that weren't met? And as a result of that image not being met, she was feeling that way. What if we took those expectations away? Or what if you expect the best, but then deal with what happens? You know, I'm not saying not to have great expectations, or great goals or great aspirations, but the moment, whether we squeeze happiness out of the moment, comes down to our expectations of the moment. We've got 2 teenage boys in the house, okay? So if you're going to have children, okay, let's say you know, right from the very beginning you have children, would it be smart to expect to get a full night's sleep, 8 hours? You've got no chance, right? What about time for yourself? Not a chance. What about peace and quiet most of the time? Not a chance, okay? When I look at all the little things that can be irritating about having teenagers in the house, okay, you know, day-to-day things. So they go to the fridge, they pull out a bottle of water, they drink it all, they leave the bottle of water on the side with no water in it, waiting for us to come and fill it up, put it back in the fridge, right? Or what about their bedrooms? What do you reckon a teenager's bedroom's like? Yeah, exactly. And what about, you know, because they're boys and they're hormonal, that they can treat you like you're a piece of dog shit on their shoe. And you expect something else. So most of the irritation, most of the frustration comes from expectations. And please remember, it's not people's behavior that upsets us, it's our expectation about their behavior. It's not the event that upsets us, or it's our expectation about that. It's not anything other than our expectation. So it's really important that what we do is we begin to look at what expectations are we operating from. So there's just a quickie on that. It's such a big subject. It's such an important subject that in a moment to moment, we're either, you know, we've either got happiness and contentment and harmony, or we're squeezing it out of the moment with our expectations. And when we look at our expectations and understand that, then we can decouple from them. Because if we don't decouple from our expectations, we decouple from happiness. So a couple of things to think about then, right? Next time that you are one of these emotions, angry, irritated, frustrated, for instance, or any of those type of emotions, disappointed, check out what's your expectation. Because you'll have one. What was your expectation and how was it not met? And then, anytime that you experience joy or happiness or delight or gratefulness, notice what happens. I'll bet your expectation was exceeded. So check out your expectation. So the first thing is just to build a little bit of awareness around when you're feeling a certain way, what's the expectation? Remember, this is the inner path, the internal path to happiness. And then if you think you've got an unrealistic expectation, change it. It's as simple as that. Change it. Decide. Decide that isn't a great expectation. Let me let go of that, decouple from that, and have a more realistic expectation. Otherwise, you're just going to be stressed. Otherwise, you're constantly going to be frustrated. Otherwise, you're constantly going to be irritated with life. You're going to be one of those individuals that's highly stressed, right? Tight. And that isn't what you're looking for, because that means you've squeezed all the happiness out of the moment. So I'm going to stop there. I want to thank you once again for listening to video number 4. And remember, please give me some feedback. Let me know what you think about these videos. Send me an email. Down the bottom, you can comment on my blog, or if it's on YouTube, comment on there. If you're in that much of a hurry, at least give me a 1 to 10. 1 didn't enjoy it, 10 really enjoyed it. Colin, keep doing this. And I want more of this if you could give it to me. So I look forward to seeing you on the next video. I do another video on happiness. I said there would only be 4, but you know me by now. I have actually 3 ideas where I really want to explore this in more detail. This is one way that we squeeze happiness out of the moment. I want to look at other ways as well. This is Colin Hiles, the Mindset Guy. I'll see you on the next video. Hold on. Now, did you enjoy that video? Well, if you did, I would like to show you how you can train your mind to perform how you want it to, so that you can break through to the next level with my advanced mind power training. It's totally free, and you can get it by going to www.advancedmindpowertraining.com,
or clicking on the link below this video. I'll see you on the next video.